Welcome back to our beginner guide. Enjoy.
Okay, so going through spring, we have quite a long time until summer, but that doesn't mean that we should not be preparing ourselves for summer comes, come in the next few days. So we've told you about sanity, sleeping in a tent, eating our food that's going to help our sanity, like the green caps. Make sure that you cook them up first. Same with our cactus, which is a little bit far away, and of course, making yourself some awesome taffy by getting yourself a decent amount of honey. But how do you get honey in Don't Starve Together? Well, of course, you can find yourself bees. You can attack the bees. You can attack the honey or the bees' nest that they're at. But obviously, that's easy ways of getting yourself killed. So I don't really think that we're gonna suggest that right now. But if you have yourself a trusty Wendy like we do and a trusty Abigail, there's other alternatives to doing this. The long trek, but we're going to go out to the bee area and we're going to show you why Wendy is one of the best characters when it comes to fetching yourself some of the best things in the game. So at nighttime, best time to adventure? I guess so. I mean, I know it sounds a little bit risky, and I know that we're only at 22% on our miner hat, but let's do it anyways, because that way in the morning time, when the bees are woken up, it'll be even easier for us to get ourselves some ultimate honey. So there's a few ways of getting honey in this game. Attacking bees, attacking the nest, and here we go. We have some ice that is unfortunately starting to spoil. Should we gather it? I'm going to say no this time. I mean, it might be an easier idea just to kind of leave it there for now, and we can get it on our way back because we have an adventure on our hands. The ice is starting to say goodbye, and eventually those little melted mini glaciers are going to disappear forever. If you have one of these set pieces in your world, I'm going to ignore it for now, but that is a tall bird fortress. I don't think you should really focus on that right now, especially if you're as scared as I am in the world of Don't Starve Together when I first started out. So just ignore anything like that. I'm not saying that I will never show you how to do it, but I'm just saying for the sake of the beginning video, I don't think that it's something that you should get yourself too much invested into. So once again, how are there ways to kill bees? Well, like I said, killing the bees, killing the nests, and of course, getting yourself your own bee boxes. Should you get yourself some early game bee boxes? I mean, that is entirely up to you. I generally don't. There's an alternative way that I try to get myself some honey, and that's by going out and killing killer bees, because killer bees have a slow percentage chance of actually getting honey, and just before we walk over there, to our right, you can see one of the springtime bosses. Now, this is known as a moose goose. Okay, very scary. Only when it's trying to attack you if you're near it, or if you're near its nests. But for now, we're going to avoid it because I really don't want you guys to bother fighting them if you don't absolutely have to. But if you accidentally made your base next to a moose goose nest, well, that's an entire different story. I'm going to try to go back there and show you, if I can, how a moose goose nest would actually look, because it's important to know that if you are starting a world and you see them there, for example, that you might be in a tricky situation come springtime. So as you can see, it's beginning to get daytime. Let's put our armor on. We got the killer bees about to attack us, but we're going to go deeper into the killer bee biome as much as we can. So we're going to get all these bees to chase us around. And during springtime, every bee that you see is a killer bee. They don't care. They're just out there to chase you down and try to attack you. Any other season, you're pretty much fine. The killer bee biome with these little things versus the honeycomb looking ones. The honeycomb ones are normal bees, but during springtime, once again, they're killer bees. But the killer bee looking things are always killer bees. So as you can see, Abigail is doing awesome against the bees. If you're doing this yourself, I would not recommend doing it at all, because bees can actually do a lot of damage to you. Unless you're using Wormwood's armor, which is an entire different thing that I haven't really talked to you guys about yet. But if you do have a friend that is willing to play Wendy to have Abigail out, you can get yourself an easy way of killing bees. Just make sure that Abigail is in a passive mode, because if she's in aggressive mode, she'll attack any structure that's around, and we don't really want to kill the beehives unless we absolutely have to. So we're basically just going to run around and let Abigail do all the work. And like I said, for the sake of the video, I just thought I'd show you, because it's always nice for an easy way of getting honey. There is another way, which we're going to show you in a minute, but I want to do this first so we can gather as much honey as we can to make ourselves some awesome taffy. And if you want to help Abigail out, why not attack a few bees? I mean, they don't take too many swings to kill, but they do a little bit of damage to you, so just make sure you have some healing on you if you can. It's always good to, like I said, have that extra little bit of healing on you. And they're not that hard to kite if you really decide. Now, let's pick up honeycomb. Now, very small chance for them to drop honeycomb. I don't even know the percentage anymore, but I know it's extremely tiny. And honeycomb is going to be very important for what we're about to do. So let's gather all the honey that we can. We might actually just decide to destroy one of the bee boxes or one of the bee nests if we can as well too. The actual stingers, I don't think you should get them, to be honest with you. I think you should just leave them on the ground. But if you manage to grab a few, feel free to bring back to your base if you can. And as you can see, we've already gathered 23 honey, and honey lasts for a very, very long time in the world of Don't Starve as well too. So it's a great investment whether you're making taffy or just in general. Let's go ahead and we're gonna attack one of these killer bee things just because we want to attract more bees, and we also want to get honeycombs. I know it sounds crazy, but if you get a chance to do so, do it. And Abigail's doing a great job of protecting us anyways. I don't really mind that I'm getting hit. It's okay. Until you lose your helmet like I did. So if you're getting hit like I am, try not to let that happen. I'm just, once again, just doing it because I have a handy-dandy Abigail that's willing to take the hits for us. But as soon as these are dead, let's get the heck out of here. We use my healing salves that we should have on us. Grab some rot, because it's always good to bring rot home with you. And there we're back up to our HP that we want to be at. Let's put our umbrella on while we walk around. Or actually, for this sake, I'm going to put the umbrella on and use the walking cane, and let's run home. Let's get the heck out of here. So, we got our honeycomb. We got our honey. And when we get back home, we're going to show you what exactly to do and why you needed the honeycomb. And that, like I said, it's not necessary that you need to get honey in spring. It's just an added bonus of why not. If it's there for you and you want to get yourself used to how the bees are and Don't Starve together, you might as well make yourself a handy-dandy little bee box to get yourself kind of started on the world of getting honey. You might see some set pieces like this. I would advise against touching that ice staff. I know it might seem nice and beautiful to go in there and grab it, but please do not, because it's going to just cause those hounds to try to attack you. The moose goose will only follow you so far. It'll only go far away from its nest, so it's not going to chase you through the entire world, so that's okay unless you decide to attack it first. And if we can find a nest somewhere, I'd like to show you what the mosling's nest looks like, because that's what to kind of avoid when you're building your base in DST as well too. But I haven't seen any yet. So basically what it looks like is a little tiny nest that's kind of been broken with twigs around it. And that's what you're looking for. And it's very rare to find that at the beginning of DST, because you have to basically be living in the set piece for the moslings. So I wouldn't really worry too much about that, because it is rare for that to happen. But it is possible that if you are at this point and you're like, oh my gosh, all the moslings are attacking me. Well, it's because you most likely are near a nest, and that's probably why it's happening. So if we can find some in the area that I'm in, I will show you real quick. I'm gonna look around a little bit. We got a little bit of time before we have to head back home to check on a few things there. But let's see if I can find any around here. Of course, you can see all these little holes. These are little burrows from the moleworms. You can leave those alone. They don't really, they're not going to cause any issues. All they're going to do is, if you ever leave a trinket or anything on the ground, they're going to, of course, go down there and they're going to pick up the trinket and bring it underground with them, whether it be, a rock, a piece of gold, or the actual trinket itself. And as you can see, stuff is beginning to rot, which is actually, a good thing that it's beginning to rot, because we're going to need rot coming soon. But it's also a bad thing as well too. And yeah, I can't seem to find any of the mossling nests. So if I do manage to find one, I will show you what they look like. But if you do have them attacking you, unfortunately, you know, it might have been something that if you could try to avoid them until spring is over, then you'll be okay. Okay, so returning home, we got our rot here. Let's finish, you know, putting the rot where they need to go in the grass. Poop is always better, but you know, it's okay. Our bird is still awake, so let's go ahead and feed him a frog leg. And you don't even have to cook up the frog leg. And what does it give you? A nice, awesome egg. And what are we using eggs for? One of the main ingredients in DST. So if we still have a pig butt, which we actually don't have any pig butts left, I was going to say we can make ourselves another ham bat, but unfortunately that's not the case. Go back into our fridges and things are starting to spoil like crazy. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to cook up a stack, holding shift, clicking on the fire. If you have Action Queue Reborn, that is, and that's going to auto cook up the entire stack. If you don't have Action Queue Reborn, you can just simultaneously click, 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 and that'll get you your entire stack cooked up over the fire. So we want to make sure that our food that we have is not going to spoil. This is the best way to do it. Unfortunately, once you cook this, you can no longer take the cooked meat and turn it into a ham bat, but that's okay. It's not a huge problem if we do this because we really just don't want it to spoil. So we've now basically gained a few extra days before our stuff goes bad. We still have a lot of food over here. We can even take some of the monster meat and combine it with this monster meat to make it even more fresh if you really want to. You know, it's really just depends on how you want to do it, but I mean, it's more so just make sure that your meat does not spoil. That's kind of the gist of the situation. Take all the stingers, put them away where they need to go. Maybe take out some of your extra logs because we need to make a few extra chests. And take your honeycomb that you got. The honey that you got, make sure that you put them inside the fridge so they don't spoil. And let's go to our alchemy machine with our hat on. And let's go into the food. Sorry, is it on the food? I believe it's under the food. Yep, there it is, bee box. And what are we missing? We're missing 4 bees, but that's okay because we're next to a bunch of bees anyways. The problem is though, during spring, finding actual real bees, once again, like I said, is very hard. I think you can locate them, but most of the majority are going to be killer bees. So I'm just gonna look here to see if, what else do we need? Sorry, I lost that. Sorry. So 2 boards, 1 honeycomb, and 4 bees will get you a bee box. Now, if you decide to do that, if for example, if you caught bees early game, you know, feel free to make yourself a bee box. But that is exactly how you would get yourself a bee box. Make sure that they're planted on this turf here, so you can plant some flowers around them. Not something I'm going to really do myself right now because once again, I wanted it to kind of be an easier tutorial for you guys. Something you don't have to worry about too much, but it is something nice to have and something to use your extra phlegmatic on, so then that way your bees can stay nice and far away from your base where they don't try to attack you when they get all crazy in springtime. Springtime is basically the season where things in DST try to kill you the most. So springtime, of course, is the least forgiving, I find, season because it's raining all the time. Frogs are trying to kill you. Bees are trying to kill you. Beefalo are now in heat. There's so many different elements of the game that is out there trying to hurt you. So that's why when it comes to bees, you never want to put a bee box inside of your base because springtime, they're going to chase after you and try to attack you. So I really don't think you should do that. But that being said, if you decide that you want to do that, of course, it's your world of Don't Starve. You can do whatever you'd like. So we went through, we've talked about sanity. We've talked about getting ourselves for more frogs. We talked about bees. Haven't had a chance to show you the bees or the bee boxes yet, but I will get to that. And like I said, hopefully you managed to get yourself a nice little tooth trap area and or a trap area in general, which we're going to hopefully showcase when more things decide to attack us. And the last thing that I wanted to go over is wetness. So once again, as we talked about in the previous video, you have nothing on you, your wetness is going to go up the more it rains. Now, this is just light rain. When it starts to rain harder and harder and harder, your wetness meter is going to go up even higher. So, of course, you have your umbrella if you manage to kill the deer clops, which will save you. But unfortunately, it's going to only protect, it's going to take up a spot on your head, which means that if you're carrying around a backpack, you're going to make sure that you have to switch to your log suit anytime something decides to attack you. If you don't have an umbrella and instead you have an umbrella and you decide to go with having your football helmet, well, then it's still gonna kind of remove a little bit of the rain, but just make sure that you're kind of rotating between your umbrella and your weapon that you're currently using to fight. So that's why I mentioned very much that if you did not get a chance to kill a Deerclops, I would really suggest doing so, because the umbrella will help you out a ton. Only problem is our umbrella is beginning to start to diminish, and that is why you need to make sure that those stingers that we got come in handy. So before we end this video, I'm going to show you something that is going to save not only plenty of your inventory that needs to be repaired, but also just a utility that is honestly probably one of the best things in the game. And that is a sewing kit. Now, where is a sewing kit? Where I gotta remember exactly where it's located. Thought I was just there for some reason. Shows you how often I use the sewing kit. Am I not under the sewing kit? One of those. This is one of those moments under the dress tab. Ah, it's under the dress tab. It's one of those moments in the stream where or in the video where you normally want to cut out it. Sorry, it wasn't. It was the hound's teeth. I think I might have used all of my hound's teeth though, and yes, I did. So, with the hound's teeth themselves, you're gonna want to make sure that you keep at least a few of them around. I'm okay. I can go and get a few more, but 2 hound's teeth and then the 8 silk will make yourself a sewing kit, which will repair the umbrella. But the one thing I wanted to show you was the booster shots, and that's why the stingers are so important, because stingers can actually get you back some of your max HP. So what happens in Don't Starve Together is when you die, your character dies, and it comes back with a penalty if you're playing in endless mode. So if you die and a friend revives you, or you find a touchstone, or you go back to the portal and you come back in, your character's going to come back in, but with a little penalty, basically saying, you died, I think next time you should learn to survive, kind of thing. And the only way to get that back is by making yourself a booster shot. So when you manage to get yourself enough rot, which we don't actually have a lot of rot right now, but when you have enough rot, perhaps maybe 10 or more, when I will show you guys how to get more rot in the future as well too, and you make sure that you keep the niter on you as well too, you can make yourself a booster shot, which will save you. But hopefully you haven't died yet. Hopefully you're still surviving, because it is something that you're going to eventually need if you managed to unfortunately meet your demise in DST. So there you go. We're almost getting to that half mark, and what happens at the half mark of springtime, we worry about summertime, and summertime is gonna be something that we're gonna have to really worry about. And that is why we have our ice flingomatic left over. That is why we are slowly rebuilding our inventory by pre-making fire pits, by pre-making multiple different things, because soon we're actually going to be moving over to another area temporarily. And I will show you that in the next video when we begin to prepare our next base that is going to be located in the oasis. And as to why that's going to happen, we're going to show you guys in the next video. But until then, I hope you guys have an awesome one. Don't forget to eat your meatballs. And look at this. Just before we logged off, a little friend decided to show up on our fridge. But I will show you guys that in the next video. Have a good one, and don't forget to hang out with us on Twitch on All Fun and Games, and also make sure that you check us out on Discord as well too. And thank you so much. I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Thanks again, and see you in the next video. Bye.